Welcome to The Curve Weekly, where we read the finance news so you don't have to. I'm Vic Harris, a finance professional who has had a career out of making money for other people.
And I'm Sophie Hallwright. I'm an executive producer of television, radio, and I was just really sick of not understanding the economy, so we started this podcast.
In today's episode, there are some countries that have just over 4 weeks left of oil reserves. So what happens after that?
A business that is a quarter of the size of eBay has just made a bid to buy it. This is the offer no one saw coming, including eBay.
We have a new take on AI. Could it actually be creating more jobs?
And finally, Uber started as the app to get you from A to B, but it's slowly turning into the app for everything.
But before we jump in, we just want to do a bit of a thank you to our incredible team, Lucy Munro, our social media manager, and Emily Rigby, our incredible podcast producer.
But first, a word from today's sponsor.
This episode of The Curve Weekly is made possible by Pathfinder KiwiSaver Plan, helping you invest alongside your values.
Pathfinder's won Mindful Money Best Ethical Investing Provider for 5 years running, so we've teamed up with them to bring you the Ethical Hotline.
Got questions about the ethics of an investment or unsure where you draw the line?
Submit your questions via the link in the podcast show notes, and thank you so much to Pathfinder for making this episode of The Curve Weekly possible. Pathfinder Asset Management Limited is the issuer of the Pathfinder KiwiSaver Plan. A product disclosure statement is available at pathfinder.kiwi.
So, oil.
For anyone that's sick of this conversation, firstly,
but
this is an important convo that needs to be had. We're not going to spend ages on it right now, but there is some updates that are definitely worth talking about. It's scary, the amount of reserves that are left and what actually we're going to do.
Yes, so New Zealand and Australia have about 38 days left of petrol in the country.
What is going to happen if we run out?
So we actually have 90. But it's not on shore. It's not like in the country. Legally, you have to have 90 days of reserves, and
it's kind of like an emergency fund, but for oil.
Yes, yeah. And it's because like so much of the country relies on it. But out of 36 countries in the International Energy Association, it was like IAE, and I just had to remember what it was for. IEA. Oh, what did I say?
I don't know. I think I'm a bit dyslexic sometimes.
Oh yeah, same.
With numbers, shit.
I think so my metaphors, that's what makes me think I'm a bit.
Side note, can I quickly tell you, I think I've shared this before on the podcast. I am horrendous at maths. Like maths is something I just really struggle with.
Yeah.
And I always kind of joked, because when I was at school, I was in the alternative maths class, which there was 3 people in the whole year. So keep in mind, there's about 160 people at my school. There was 3 of us. Anyway, me and one of my best friends.
I love how they call alternative maths, like kind of makes you sound smart, but kind of not.
Yeah, it's alternative, like you're so alternative. Not great. Anyway, what was the point to my story? Oh, I was playing a game the other day. It had dice and a cup. Every time it came to my turn, it became incredibly apparent how...
You couldn't add 2 dice to that.
I was just number dyslexic. It was so embarrassing. And I could tell
like
everyone...
6 and 1, you're like,
Everyone was trying to be like... So you could do this or you could do this. And it was like they were speaking French to me and I could not compute what was happening. And I thought, and I looked it up, you can actually be number dyslexic. But numbers, I think I actually have a diagnosable issue.
Well, I'm glad we have a financial education podcast.
No, but to be fair, that is the thing though. Like
that's why I'm here, babe.
But I was about to say finances also isn't maths. Like I think it's important to remember that, and that is where a lot of beginners...
Sometimes when we're like doing a presentation event and you're like, 20,000 people. I'm like, it was 20.
Yeah. My numbers are always off.
Yeah.
Thank God for spreadsheets that automate numbers.
Oh gosh, yes.
Anyway, so there's a ginormous
We lasted about 30 seconds talking about finance. Headlines. Anyway, yes, New Zealand and Australia are one of the worst countries in terms of their low supplies of petrol. And the UK's got about 60 to 90 days. But essentially, we are at the crunch point now. Everyone's like, if this goes into June, which is kind of in 30 days' time, this is dire news. But an interesting thing is kind of happening. And because the Middle East is effectively closed off, it's 20% of the world's oil, people are now getting their oil from other places, like particularly the US, because they're the next biggest oil exporter. Mm-hmm. However, we're now seeing... with everyone's supplies dwindling, the US is itself, it's like, do we stop supporting the rest of the world and exporting our oil and protect ourselves?
As in they don't even export.
No, it's like, so they're exporting so much right now to compensate for the Middle East. It's now getting to a point where they kind of have to decide,
Oh my God, it's Hunger Games.
do we ban exports and protect our home country, or do we do what's good for the world and keep helping support all the rest of the countries in the world?
And also amazing to think that the person in charge of that decision cares so much about the rest of the world.
And I'm sitting here, I'm like, maybe this was all his plan. I know. Wild. It is Hunger Gamesy.
Oh my God, maybe it was his plan the whole time.
And he's like, I'm trying to sort out, I'm trying to stop the war. I'm trying to negotiate with Iran. Maybe he just wants everyone to be at the beck and call of the US. I mean, look, now I'm getting
a little conspiracy theory, but who knows?
Yeah.
I feel like this is not far off what it could be happening.
Yeah. So like US oil exporters are having the best time ever. They're expected to earn an extra $60 billion this year versus last year from this, because they're still exporting. The price is just effectively nearly tripled.
This is the best example of supply and demand.
Yeah.
And when it comes to anything, whether it's buying property, whether it's buying clothing, whether it's like literally anything, if there's a scarcity or not enough for the amount of people that want to buy, that is why prices go up.
Exactly. If you were selling a house and all of a sudden 20% of all the houses available in your area couldn't be sold, but the demand's still there, you're sitting there going, yes, amazing. I'm going to get a higher price for my house. It's exactly the same with these oil exporters. It's like they're sitting there going, cool.
They have
amazing.
the most valuable commodity that people want to buy.
Yeah.
And so they can actually charge whatever they want.
Yeah. It's like the supply's been reduced, but the demand has stayed the same.
Yes.
So it's like if you cut away, let's say half of the supply of anything, of blueberries, but there's still the same amount of people that want the blueberries. It's kind of like a free-for-all in terms of like, well, you might be like, well, I'll pay $10. I'm like, no, well, I'll pay 11. You're like, I'll pay 12, I'll pay 13. It's just like...
It's probably quite a good time to just talk about not only oil and petrol and the prices of everything going up as a result of this, but could we maybe just spend a couple of minutes explaining what is likely to happen if we get to the end of these reserves? What actually is worst case scenario?
If we get closer to those final days or like even weeks, there'll have to be severe measures like a traffic light theory, like COVID again. It's like, okay, cool. You can only use your car one day a week. We will have to get to that point, and there'll just be so much revolt. There'll be businesses that have to shut down. There'll be like spending money, oils and everything. Condoms, for example, have skyrocketed because they're made of oil.
What am I going to do?
You're going to have some unprotected sex.
Don't you find
there'll be babies?
But
there'll be a ton of babies.
Perfect. We've solved the fertility issue. Don't you think
that the oil crisis has solved the fertility issue? Who would have thought?
Can we just talk about the fact that it is impossible to get through a pack of condoms? Like, sorry. I feel like it's one of those things that there is always an abundance. Don't you think? No, I'm being serious. It's not I'm having like no sex issue. It's the idea that there's so many condoms in a packet.
Yeah.
I mean, I just hate using them anyway. So
yeah,
maybe
it's
that's
such a sex disruptor.
God, it's such a mood killer.
It's like, hang on a second. I'll pull down back.
Yeah. It's so bad. Every time I try, it's kind of like an elevator moment where you try really hard to be like, don't be awkward, don't be awkward, don't be awkward.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I want to crawl into a hole.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway,
right. Okay, so
I mean, inflation, we're already seeing inflation come through. We are seeing kind of central banks not increase, kind of everyone's a bit on pause to kind of see what's going to happen. We were in this kind of interest rate cutting cycle, which was really good because it was fueling the economy, great. A lot, Australia, New Zealand, UK, everyone's kind of pausing, waiting, what's happening. When they start increasing those, like I just got sent through my new fixed rates for my mortgage from June. Some of them are up back to 6%, which is so annoying because it's
God.
I just thought we were on this way down, and now, like they're obviously pricing in, if you lock in your fixed mortgage rate for 2-3 years, you're going to pay a higher rate because they're obviously...
Can you swap to floating?
Yeah, but then
it could go up.
Yeah. So you're trying to be like, okay, well, is this all going to be over next week? Then interest rates will, and you've locked in 3 years.
Do you know what? We should actually talk about this on the property podcast. I feel like it's a really good topic because that idea of how do you even figure out what you're, given what's happening in the world right now, should you be floating, should you be fixed?
Yeah.
We can talk about that.
But
separately.
even high oil prices, it's going to flow through to companies, company profits, the stock market. It could get worse before it gets better. I think in the early few weeks, there's a bit of volatility in the stock market and everyone's like, oh, well, this won't this. And now it feels very less blasé. We had a really good reporting season. We're in it right now. But that's that's the previous results, and it was a lot of
for companies that have to give their results.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. So looking forward, it's like that's till kind of the end of March, most of those. So the oil crisis started in April, so I think
Sorry, I'm a bit confused. What's the correlation?
we're starting to see it come through in companies and then in profits, and then that'll impact the stock market.
Oh, so as in everyone's doing really well right now, but the future or like forward looking in terms of what people are expecting, what's going to happen to companies and the amount of profit they're making is something that we may see in the next report.
Yes, yeah. And I mean, people are starting to predict it now. That's why the stock market moves around so much when there's this kind of news, that it's open, that it's closed, that it's open. Did you see that meme that I sent to the curve? There was a guy standing outside his cafe, and he opened the open close sign, he flicks it to open, and this guy walks up, he's like, "Hi mate," and then he's like, "Closed." He's like, "Sorry, we're closed now." And then he's like, "Oh, but I thought you said you're open." He's like, "Oh, no. Oh yeah, we're open now. Oh, no, we're closed. Oh, we're open."
But what's he laughing about?
That's the Strait of Hormuz.
Oh,
yeah.
God. Wow, that took me way longer than it should have. I feel conflicted about the what?
Sorry, no. It was just we spoke at an event this week, and one girl asked, with everything going on in the world right now, is now a good time to invest? And I think it was a really good question, because we jump on here and we talk about everything that's going on in the world, and even just the last 5 minutes of, it could get a lot worse, inflation, interest rates. There is always going to be stuff like this. And yes, you can be informed. Yes, the stock market might jump around a bit. It might sell, it might fall, it might rise. Just need to keep investing. As boring as it sounds.
No, it's true. And I when she asked that question, I thought, ding, 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 we should do a deep dive on all of the big things that have happened in the last 10, 15 years in terms of massive, scary things that at the time we were all thinking, God, it can't get much worse. The world's in a shit state, blah, blah, blah.
Totally.
And then actually look at if you'd invested at that time, how much it would have gone up by now. Because I think the psychology of when you're in it and the media and all of the headlines are really overwhelming. But if you look back at history, I think it gives you the sense of relief of where we're heading, and also it's the reality of living in a world that's very complex. There's always going to be things going on.
And it does feel like there's a lot more going on recently, but I think that's because we've got an information overload. We can very quickly access news on social media and all of that. And so, yes, it might feel like there is a lot more. We've also got someone in power who is probably creating a bit more than normal.
Apparently he just loves being in the news as well. Like every article, every video, he's like, it's me again. I'm like, you're so annoying. Okay, let's move on to eBay, our second news item. This I find very interesting. Now, before we get into this,
Let's wind back the clock.
Yes, I was about to say the exact same thing. Wind back the clock, Vic. Set the scene. Tell us what's going on.
Do we have a clip from that?
Yes, we do. This is a little snippet of what happened. How many years ago was this?
In 2021.
Cast your mind back to what was going on. Now, for most of us listening to this podcast, we probably were very uninterested in the stock market at this point in time. The Curve Weekly did not exist. However, if it did, this would have been something we massively talked about. It was essentially a meme stock that went up and up and up.
It's like the OG meme stock.
Yeah. So people banded together to send this stock through the roof. We're just going to play a little clip.
GameStop.
One of the most volatile weeks on Wall Street.
Social media average Joes versus big money players.
A David and Goliath struggle.
There was a lot of swings in terms of being happy, and then a lot of very depressing moments.
I saw the numbers go up by the numbers I've never seen them before in my bank account, and go down within 5 minutes.
It was a roller coaster of emotion.
But this kind of came out of nowhere, right? It was the first time it had happened.
Yep.
Everyone
was like a
what?
real down in the dumps video game shop, and it was like on its last legs. Its share price was really in the dumps, and everyone on Reddit jumped on this bandwagon to buy it and boost its share price. And it was wild. It went from $20 to over $500 in a matter of days. Like, people made bank on that share price.
I have listened to a little story on this. So I think the thing I didn't understand for a while was, how do these activist investors that boost up meme stocks choose who they're going to do that to, or what company it is? And I was listening to something this morning actually that was speaking about, apparently the CEO, who we're going to speak about in a second, is quite a like
wheeler dealer.
Yeah, but also he's almost a bit stick it to the man, stick it to the companies. Like he basically, if you imagine the people that are jumping on board meme stocks and choosing a company and they're doing it to kind of F over all these hedge funds, he's almost the antithesis of that. So of course they saw him as a CEO and thought, let's support him.
Yeah.
And then chose this company.
Yeah, and that was the reason, right, was that all these hedge funds were short, so they benefit when the share price goes down, but...
Basically, it was doing so badly.
Yeah.
The share price was doing so badly that people were betting against it doing even worse.
Yeah.
And so people it's like people making money off something doing shit. Like, it's without going into
the hedge funds. Yeah, the hedge funds were betting on it doing worse, and then that's why the Reddit people jumped on the bandwagon. They were like, F the institution, we're going to F over these hedge funds by increasing the share price, and then that just means that the hedge funds are like making losses and huge losses because they are betting it goes down.
Yeah.
And when it goes up, you're screwed.
Yeah.
But the reason we're talking about this is that GameStop, which was literally in the toilet a few years ago, has just made a takeover offer for eBay.
Does anyone use eBay anymore? Okay, Emily just put her hand up saying she loves eBay. I mean,
I actually bought something on there like last year, and I was kind of like, "Will it arrive? Is it a scam?
it feels so like OG and scammy now. You look at their website, and I just feel, it feels scammy.
Yeah. Well, you've got Amazon now to get absolutely anything. Like they really were the poster child of like a marketplace to buy, anything, and now Amazon's kind of taken over that. You've got Facebook Market. You've got so many other competitors.
Yeah. I mean, but it was the 90s, the cool.
Yeah.
It was so cool to buy on eBay.
Yeah.
People be like, where'd you get it from? I got it from eBay. You'd be like, so cool.
Well,
now
you could
it's not.
international, like you could buy things
True,
from overseas, and you were like, whoa, I got this from the US, this top.
Oh my God, that's
like,
so true. Little old New Zealand.
Had to use PayPal to check out, but it was fine.
Yeah, no, it's so true.
So anyway, GameStop has made a nearly $60 billion offer to buy eBay. Now, this has come out of absolutely nowhere.
I love that.
Imagine being the executives at eBay and you're just like, get your morning coffee. Ooh. Oh, okay. We dealing with a takeover.
Didn't see that one coming. I do.
What is this company? I've never even heard of it.
It's okay. Let's also just acknowledge that what you've said is such a good point. This is not a hi, I'm going to contact the CEO and tell them that I want to, take over their business. It's like a public hostile, you hear it in the news. It would be like us waking up one morning and some random person having spoken to all our investors saying that they want to take the business over and turn it into a bathroom making business. Yeah. You're just like, okay, that's a bit random. Like it's not something that happens behind closed doors.
You have to almost defend your business to your shareholders, But if we had been, I don't know, on holiday every week and growth was really sluggish and the content was shit, then you do piss off a few shareholders, and then they're like, you know what? Actually, screw you guys. You haven't been delivering on what you said you're going to do. We want to do this we want to accept this takeover offer. And so that's why there's hostile and then there's friendly. And friendly is when you approach the executives and you're like, hey, we want to do this. And they're like, you know what? It's actually a really good deal. I think these businesses combined would be great together. And they kind of give their blessing to shareholders to accept it. Whereas this is very hostile. This is like, what the fuck? GameStop is a $12 billion company. And eBay is a $45 billion company.
It's literally 4 times the size.
Honestly, they'd be like, who are you?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Who is this tiny little thing that's trying to tap me on the shoulder? It's so bold.
Yeah, it's like the corner dairy trying to buy the supermarket. They'd be like,
Or maybe, It's like someone that's just started, they've thought, I'm going to start an investing podcast, and they have 2 followers, and then they've gone out to our shareholders and are like, we're going to take over the curve. It's really quite bold.
But it can happen, right? So they are offering to pay eBay shareholders nearly 50% higher than what the share price is right now. So if you were sitting there as an eBay shareholder, you're probably like, you know what? Shit, yeah. And half of that, so that's $125 a share, half of that they're like, here, so if you can take half of that in cash, and half of it will become GameStop's stock. Well, that's it. GameStop stock. And then you can decide whether you want to sell that stock at a later date or keep it. If you've got eBay in there with GameStop, you might be like, actually, it's quite a good deal and I want to keep my shares, but you get half cash. So
Can I on this just play a clip that I heard in the Financial Times? There was this journalist that basically played a little bit of his interview. It was the weirdest interview you've ever heard.
The CEO.
Yes. And they're like, how are you going to pay for this? And he sounds like he's had a joint. And he also sounds like just so unbelievably cocky and arrogant, but also like, they're like, so how are you going to pay for this? And he's like, I'm going to do this and this. Like, let me just play it. It's like a 2-second clip.
Walk us through how you could get to that price and how it would work.
It's on our website. It's half cash, half stock, but the details are on our website.
I'm just trying to understand where the rest of the money would come from.
It's half cash, half stock.
I hear you. I'm just saying that math doesn't get you to the price that you're offering.
So,
Brian, that's a pretty straightforward question. I don't get it. Like, where's the rest of the money coming from?
Yeah, and so part of it's with debt, and they've got about $9 billion on their balance sheet, GameStop, and the rest is from a bank, so the rest is debt. So they've got the money. It's like
people are kind of looking at it and saying this is not going to happen. It's going to be a car crash, blah, blah, blah. But it's actually like, and the other thing that I can't remember what business it is, but he actually has had some success as a CEO. He's not some random guy that's never run a business.
He's Chewy.
Yeah, that's right.
So he was ex-Chewy, and Chewy was like...
Is it a pet business?
It's pet business, and it's like a subscription pet business. And...
So excited. Vic loves a pet investment.
No, but like, yeah, exactly. It was like right in the sweet spot of everyone buying pets and COVID. And yeah, anyway. I guess what I find fascinating, like prices, cash, money aside, whatever, like they're just such different businesses. You've got a physical video game store network and an online, I mean, they're not that different actually. Now, like, they're both selling shit. I don't know. Yeah. Do you know? Like but if I was sitting, I'd be like, hang on, you really, really need to convince me about how these two coming together will be better for shareholders and investors. Like Amazon and eBay coming together, easy, boom, done. Bigger, better, scale,
He's being cagey about the whole thing. He's not really giving much away, which I think makes the whole thing interesting. But can we talk about his bonus?
Yes, so this is the juicy bit. So in January this year, he was given a bonus, but the trigger was that, in order to be paid out, was that GameStop's value, so its market cap, the value of the company, had to reach $100 billion. Now, it's at $12 billion right now. So
it's not really on track to hit the target.
Not really on track. So buying a company 4 times your size is one very quick way of
getting bonus.
Closer. Yeah.
Oh my God, kind of clever.
I know. I mean,
it really blows my mind that you can buy businesses and automatically just swallow up the value, and the business has just added all of this like technical value in terms of how it's
like 1 + 1 is supposed to equal 3, and that's how you kind of get it across.
This whole situation sounds very similar to me to the whole Netflix Warner Brothers takeover that we spoke about for months.
At least they were similar sizes though, right? Like,
and similar businesses.
Similar businesses. You could see the synergies. You could, This just feels very opportunistic, and the more opportunistic, the harder it is to convince shareholders. So also swallowing up a big business, like the systems, the operations, we're seeing it with Xero at the moment. They bought a massive payments company in the US, which was, the biggest acquisition they've ever done. And the digestion that it takes to, even if you've got, 2 staff doing the same role, you have to get rid of them. There's just so many more risks if you're buying a bigger business than integrating one that's a bit smaller. And so anyway.
It's super interesting. Part of me wants this to go through just because I think it's so interesting.
I know.
Like, I want this to happen, even though I have no idea if it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I just think that it's juicy and I'm into it. What I was gathering, all the times we've spoken about meme stocks, is that the value that the value, in inverted commas, is fake because it's been really pushed up in value by all these people buying it. So to think that they're then going to use that kind of fake value to go and then acquire something really valuable, it's quite clever.
It's not fake, right? That's how share prices move. Supply and demand again. It's like there was just a shit ton of demand in a short space of time, but the share price is a reflection of the value of the company.
Surely people at this point just want to be the next meme stock.
Yeah, but I mean it's hard, right? Because you do have to be careful because if you go up, 4x your share price, and then you can come down pretty quickly. It's but this is a really good example of why high share prices and high valued companies it gives you options. It's like if you well, Microsoft and your share price is doing really well, the flexibility that gives you to, attract good talent, buy competitors, like all of that. And you kind of get into the circle of death when your share price is falling, you're having to cut staff, you kind of probably dipping into your cash reserve. Like you can be quite a cycle.
You see it with so many different types of businesses as well. Like in New Zealand, there's not a lot of hospitality. And, when something opens up, everyone flocks to it and gets really excited. And then when they're, sort of bored or sick of it, they move on, and then all of a sudden it's just, I think you see it a lot in lots of different industries, like the Lululemon that we spoke about last week, they were really hot and cool for a while, and now they're really struggling. And I think as soon as you start struggling, it's just so hard to climb back up the hill.
And the whole, not the whole job of the CEO, but is to increase your share price. And if you increase your profits, then the share price will react accordingly. So it's like they're kind of a glorified salesperson of how do you get more people interested in your stock? It's either A, delivering consistent profits, or B, hoping that you become a meme stock and roofs it.
I really have never heard you ever talk about someone doing a hostile takeover bid that was a woman. Oh, yeah. And I was thinking about this. I was like, God, the amount of confidence to go out publicly and say you're taking over a business is something else. I cannot imagine how, sorry to say it, but you must be quite arrogant. I can turn this business around. Everyone vote for me. It's pretty ballsy.
I mean, if there was more women running businesses, we probably would see it, I reckon. It's just a way to create more value for shareholders at the end of the day. That's all they're trying to do. And if you're invested and you own shares as a CEO or as a founder in that business, you just want to create more and more value. And if that's a way of doing it, yes, I mean, this is a bit of a stretch. But we'll see. We'll keep you posted.
Coming up after the break, we're going to get into a conversation that it seems everybody is having. AI, job losses, and basically what is happening to businesses and the job market.
But before we dive in, here's a quick word from today's sponsor.
Something that we often get asked is whether you can actually invest ethically.
It's such a common concern. Honestly, a lot of people think money is bad, and so they assume that investing must be too.
Yeah, I feel like pre-2000s, most investing focused entirely on profits, and that was above planet, people, all of those things. But things have changed now, and it's so much easier to invest in a way that balances both financial returns as well as doing the right thing.
And that's why we've partnered with Pathfinder, because they make ethical investing understandable and accessible. Thanks to Pathfinder for making this episode of the Curve Weekly possible.
Pathfinder Asset Management Limited is the issuer of the Pathfinder KiwiSaver plan. A product disclosure statement is available at pathfinder.kiwi. Oh, wow. Back at this conversation.
So, AI is starting to cost people their jobs.
Wow. I don't know if you've heard that before. Big shock.
Breaking news. Heard it first at the Curve.
No, so there's a huge amount happening in the actual cutting of
I thought you were going to say in the AI space. I was like, oh, wow.
Another big one. No, I mean, we mentioned this last week or the week before. We've got a friend who her partner works at Meta in the US, and they're doing 20% job cuts. We're now seeing this across a huge amount of tech companies.
Amazon is cutting 16,000 jobs. PayPal is cutting 20% of its workforce. Oracle, Coinbase, UPS, there's just tens of thousands of people are losing their jobs. And it's not just across tech, it's across, lots and lots of other industries. Over 300,000 people have been laid off in the first 4 months of 2026 in the US, which is huge. And this is up over 30% on last year. Now, yes, some of it is a function of the underlying economy, but this is a 30% increase on last year is not not just because of the economy. There's a structural kind of change going on here, and it's AI. Whether you're a business cutting staff or you're a business like Spotify or IBM that are like, we are just having a hiring freeze essentially, and we're not hiring new people, we're just getting everyone more efficient with AI. It's not good if you're a job seeker.
It's not good if you're a job seeker. It's not good if you're trying to get an entry-level job. It's not great if you're middle management. Like, I think there's a lot of people that will be feeling sort of scared and unsure about the landscape and the industry that they work in and what the changes are going to do.
And the Anthropic CEO who owns Claude, Anthropic owns Claude.
We love Claude. Not sponsored by, please sponsor us. Obsessed with Claude.
Which is one of the, depending on who you believe, the biggest AI company in the world. They've warned that AI could wipe out about half of all entry-level white-collar jobs.
What is white-collar? Is it at a desk?
Yeah. So it's like your office admin, your marketing, HR, that kind of...
I mean, dare I say it?
Customer
Who
service.
does a lot of those jobs? It's disproportionately women, especially if you've taken a break. A lot of women go back into those types of jobs after having kids.
And some of the most protected is blue-collar jobs, which is like physical labor, like tradies, like mechanics.
Fix my light bulb, etc. 100%.
Which is majority men as well. So...
Don't love it.
Can't love it. But also, there's a lot of articles and news coming out about like the amount of jobs that AI will create. I don't even think that we've scratched the surface of that. Like the internet created so many incredible job opportunities. People being able to start businesses in their living rooms. I think we latch on to the bit of the fear mongering of like everyone's going to lose their jobs. But I think this is just such a new paradigm that we haven't even entered yet. We don't know the possibilities.
Yeah. And I think that there's not just the fear around the job losses. There's also... understandably, a huge amount of women who don't want to adopt AI for ethical reasons, for environmental reasons, which I completely understand.
Did you see that Reese Witherspoon clip?
Yes, and this is actually something I wanted to bring up. So for anyone that's missed it, in fact, let's just play it because you may have seen a bit of it online, you may not have heard the whole clip.
I think it's time to learn about AI. I was with 10 women at a book club yesterday, and I said to the 10 of them, how many of you guys use AI? And only 3 of them used AI. And then I said, how many of the 3 of you feel like you really know what you're doing or they're using it the right way? And that was only 1 person. So if 3 out of 10 women are the only ones using AI, that means 70% of that group is not keeping up. The thing I've learned about technology is if you don't get a little bit of understanding from the very beginning, it just speeds past you. So you have to have little bits of learning just to keep up. And let's get real, our kids are all using this every single day. I think we should learn the basics together and learn some really good tools that are gonna make our everyday lives easier and better. Do you want me to share what I'm learning with you? It's time. It's time, people.
There's so many things I want to say about this, but firstly, who cares the reason why Reese is talking about this? So many people are getting up in arms about maybe she's like backing an AI company or owning one or whatever. I don't care. I think what she's saying is so true.
So totally, yeah.
And I use AI for so much that we would have otherwise had to pay staff for. It's boosted my productivity enormously. I'm trying to upskill myself so that I can help our staff. Like, if we had people in at the curve who were like really resistant, you do need to give more context for the importance of jumping on the bandwagon. It's not just, it was built by men and therefore we need to have more. There's so many reasons why. And your point around jobs popping up that we didn't even know, yeah, that's one thing. But if you want to work in an industry or stay relevant, you kind of can't change the fact that this is the way that the world is moving. Like, it's moving this way.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people who feel like they want to put their stake in the ground and say, well, I'm just not going to jump on board. And I fully understand, like, the reason for wanting to do that.
But it's fear-driven.
But it's also us that's going to miss out, or you individually. And there was this clip, I listened to an amazing podcast that Shameless put out, Shameless Media. It's an Australian podcast brand. I think the way they spoke about it was just really interesting. And we'll play a tiny clip, but I'll also put the link in the podcast show notes because I think listening to the whole episode would be really valuable.
All 3 of us sitting in this room right now are writers. I understand the fear that AI could reduce writing jobs. But the worst possible thing I could do as a writer is just sit with that and not do anything about it. You have to be pragmatic in this life. If this is going to change the industry and you want to stay in the industry that you love, unfortunately, you have to play by the rules of the game. And the rules of the game are constantly changing in media, constantly changing in our lives now that technology is so prominent. You cannot just sit by and watch it happen. If you want to succeed individually, you have to eventually play by the rules everyone else is.
It's also like with everything, right? It's like with cell phones. It's like, oh, you know, I don't need a computer in my pocket all day, every day. Yet now billions of people around the world have it. You know, like when Apple came out with computers even, and they were trying to say they wanted one in every home, and everyone's like, why? You only need that at work. You know, like the world just changes. It's like, as brutal as it sounds, like get on board or move out of the way. Sorry, that sounds, but you know, like, and you don't have to be immersed in AI all day, every day. Like just start with the basics. I think there's a lot of people that are scared or like, I have to set aside, you know, a dedicated day to start on it or whatever. Just, you don't. Like, just start honestly, small. It's like with investing. Just don't make it a massive, big thing.
That you need to know everything about.
Yeah, just like...
Be curious.
Be curious. Start using it a little bit each day and then you'll become... you know, it's like TikTok. When I first started using TikTok, I was like, oh my gosh, what is all these features? What, you know, and then now... but you know, you're just like, with any new thing, there's a bit of uncomfortableness. And it's like learning any skill, or any new technology, it just takes time. You're not supposed to be an expert from day one, but like, just don't bury your head in the sand.
I also just wanted to point out that 70% of HR roles, 75% of admin roles, the percentage is enormous for women in the roles that are going to be potentially eaten up by AI in the next 5 years. If you are in one of those roles, but you're adopting AI, then you'll be even more valuable to the business. Totally. They'll use you because you'll be with the technological changes that allow you to be more productive, to see the opportunities to still be valuable to a business. Don't just sit around and think, oh, I'm in one of those roles. It's like, but... I'm
going to be redundant, yeah.
But, you know, like, for example, if you're a personal assistant, of course you'd be sitting there thinking, shit, there's like Claude prompts that get you a personal assistant in 2 hours. But actually maybe you could flip it and say, I could be a personal assistant or... you know, 100x the amount of people I work for by automating.
Totally. I could, instead of having 10 clients as my max, I will now be able to have 100.
Or 1,000, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of the ethics though, I watched a snippet of The Diary of a CEO and Scott Galloway.
Oh, yes.
It's so fascinating. So Scott Galloway, obsessed. Yeah, tried to get on the podcast.
In fact, I saw a clip of him this morning and I honestly, it was about 7 a.m. I started crying. He was talking about how much he loved his mum and how he's still grieving his mum and how grief is just receipts for love. And he's this 6-year-old man who's there crying for the, you know, grief, how much he loved his mum, who was a single mother who raised him to have confidence and do all the stuff. And I was just like, you're a beautiful representation of what masculinity could be and like what a brilliant role model.
Yeah, the way he can spit out statistics,
he's amazing.
Yeah, he's not numbers dyslexic. He is definitely not. But anyway, he was saying that your view on AI depends on how much you earn. And I was like, interesting. And he was saying that people earning over, say, 200K a year tend to love AI because they're the ones that are invested in the stock markets. It's been great for their investments. Like it's all the tech companies, the S&P 500, all of that has done incredibly well, mainly due to AI. They're also the ones that don't feel the rising energy costs from the power that AI is consuming.
Can you explain that?
So AI is a huge energy consumer, and that has also led to the rise in energy prices because they're using so much more of the grid and the electricity. So if electricity bills are going up, say 10, 20%, if you're a high income earner, you don't really feel that. And you're benefiting because you've got your money invested in the stock market. Whereas lower income earners, they don't have any money invested in the stock market or very little. They're not getting that benefit. All they're feeling is the energy costs going up. And so
really
they're also probably more worried about their jobs. Like there's just... AI is really creating a wealth divide from, the wealthy, the unwealthy.
As if we don't already have that large enough.
If you've got money that you invested in the stock market, that's benefiting from AI. You're loving AI because you're seeing your investments go up. that split is just getting more and more and more.
I think another interesting point in that podcast you're talking about was the idea that he doesn't actually believe that jobs are going to be overly lost or destroyed. And it's quite interesting because we can explain what he means.
He said it will create jobs rather than destroy them.
Which is interesting. I don't know if you agree with him or not, but I've heard a lot of people say a similar rhetoric, which is essentially, yes, AI can fast track a lot, but what it then does is increase demand too. So there's still more demand for people to be working within those roles.
Yeah.
Like, for example, a medical body scan, something that, AI is starting to do a lot of it. It's almost like it's not decreasing the value or the need for people or doctors to be involved in that part of a product because AI is making it more accessible, therefore more people want to use that product, therefore actually the demand goes up from a job perspective.
Well, that's what he was saying with radiologists. Like, they've been using AI for so long. It was supposed to be wiped out because everyone would be able to not go in and see a radiologist. But that's just allowed them to grow and speed up and see more clients and all of that. Like, I went to get a mole map when I was in New Zealand. I was like, how do you know? She's just putting them in the computer. Like, she'd take a photo, it goes straight to the computer, and then it's like, she's like, oh, it's AI decides whether it's cancerous or not. And I was like, how long have you been using this technology? And she said for about 4 years. And because I was like, how long have you been using this technology? Like,
am I paying for quality?
Well, I was also like, okay, how can you trust this? Like, if she'd said the last few months or whatever, I'd be like, okay, can you do a human check, please?
Yeah. Get your microscope out.
And she said, yeah, we've been using it for like 4 years.
Wow.
And I was like, here I am being like, oh, AI, a new shiny thing. And they're like, go on, get on board, guys. We've been using this for like years. So
the point here is don't freak out too much. Start using AI.
Yeah.
What happens, TBC, no one really knows. But the best thing that you could do if you want to stay engaged in the workforce is try and be open-minded.
Yeah. Uber has reported its financial result this week. Mm-hmm. We're in reporting season. There's lots of companies reporting. But Uber's was interesting because it highlighted the fact that it had been impacted by the Middle East, not because of oil, but it's like it's got operations in the Middle East. And so people are obviously not visiting. They're not using Uber.
They have Uber in the Middle East? Got it.
Yeah. I really love Uber.
I cannot deal with how shit they are in London, though. They're so bad.
Yeah.
Like, the quality of service is just annoying.
Is that because of your rating?
What?
Is that because of your rating?
I love that you're putting it on me, you absolute gaslighter. Absolutely not.
I know this shit. They
take so long and you waited 20 minutes and they're like, we've cancelled.
And then the little thing's like,
oh, God.
I'm like, just come the direct route.
I'm like, you've missed, it's a 2-meter drive. Don't do
and then
it.
You're like, no, I'll just walk.
Yeah, God,
anyway,
so annoying.
They do over 40 million trips a day, which is like double the population of Australia. I mean, like, it's wild. But anyway, I really like the CEO. He's only been there since 2017, but and the whole ethos of Uber is to become this super app. So they want to become, I guess, the app for convenience. So right now they've got Uber Eats, they've got delivery, they've got, the normal ride hailing service. Like,
do you remember when they started doing this stuff as well? And it was like, what? Weird.
I know.
Now
I can put my keys in an Uber and send them to my friend. It's like, what? No, they're going to steal it. It's like, no.
And the groceries, all that kind of
Uber
thing.
Parcel.
Yeah, you kind of, I remember when they first started coming out of it and I was like, oh, that's a bit odd. And now as they've started to evolve what their offering is, it just makes so much sense. It's so clever.
I just think they're in such a sweet spot, which of this convenience economy of people are busier, people have less time, they just want shit to work, and they are really becoming the app for everything. And they have announced a recent partnership with Expedia so that you can start to book.
Expedia feels like eBay a bit, don't you think?
Yeah, a bit
old
like
school.
90s kind of, But their whole ethos is helping people go, get, and now travel in one place. So to be able to book hotels. But I started digging and they've actually got a lot of features that I didn't even know. Like, there's this feature called Eats for the Way, which you can combine. Like, if you're getting an Uber to work, you can order your breakfast into that Uber so that you can have your breakfast on the go on your way to work. Like, imagine sending your kids to school and their lunch is in the Uber. And they're just... It's just,
Oh my God, anything that makes my life faster, easier, I will pay through the nose.
It's just like, I was like,
through the roof.
Oh my goodness.
That's so clever. They're basically trying to make busy people's lives easier and more convenient.
And they've also got this Uber One, which is this membership model, which 50 million people have signed up to. £10 a month. That's £6 billion of revenue. That is on subscription, so they can see that that's coming in each month.
It's giving Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Easy to sign up, difficult to get out of, end up spending more than you planned.
They've also got investments in kind of the Uber Eats of Europe and Delivery Hero. They've got, the Uber of China and Singapore.
Oh my God, Grab. I did it when I was there.
Yeah, and Didi in China. So they are, got their little tentacles. But they're the world's biggest taxi company and they don't own any taxis. Like they're literally just a tech platform. And it's like Airbnb, the world's biggest accommodation provider, but they own no hotels. The interesting thing with this was Uber's IPO was supposed to be the biggest thing since sliced bread. Like in 2019, everyone was like, oh my God, Uber's IPOing. And it was the biggest IPO flop in US history. And it lost $600 million on day one.
God, it's such a good example though, because everyone feels so FOMO with IPOs when they're, and this is just the first chance you have to buy shares. Basically, it's like lining up to buy the first iPhone when it comes out.
It's just wait for the hysteria to die down. It's like going to a restaurant and they've still got teething issues and everyone's there. It's like just wait a few months.
Yeah,
let it die down. It might be great. It might be shit. Like I don't know. Just
give it a minute.
It's not the only time you can buy shares. Like chill out, everyone.
Also, people who bought at IPO and then sold in the last few years because it hadn't done very well have actually done worse than people that have bought more recently and seen it grow steadily over time. Like a lot of people do sell when they see it falling and they panic, and that's the exact opposite of how you talk about investing.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see how the oil price impacts Uber. Because they don't pay for their petrol. That's on their drivers, and so if they get more and more squeezed, whether there'll be some kind of amendment to the percentage that they pay to Uber drivers or what.
Because what is it at the moment? I feel like it's around of like a £20 ride. Uber takes about £4 of that.
Yes, yeah.
And then on the driver, they have to pay for, they're a contractor basically. They're an independent, they have their own business and they pay for petrol and they pay for their car and insurance
and they don't get holiday pay, they don't get any of that. Like it's very much, you can kind of tap in, tap out in terms of like being an Uber driver or not. But there was some big tax changes in the UK that have actually impacted this result by $1 billion. And that was that because they don't hire Uber drivers as employees, they're contractors, they kind of Uber was able to kind of skirt around paying VAT, so like GST or paying tax only on that £4. Whereas
that's so clever.
The UK government was like, no, the whole service is £20. You need to pay on the £20. And so in London, that's why it's probably, there's less drivers, it's more expensive because Uber has to pay on the full 20.
Right.
Outside of London, they managed to get away with it, so they're only paying on the Uber fee portion that VAT amount. So it's been a short-term impact, but I don't know. I just think Uber, the way that they think about the long term, it's very different to a lot of businesses and a lot of CEOs that are very short-term focused. Like this business that they just want to be this super app that everyone uses for their lives.
They're also doing what they say. They want to be the convenience app. They want to do it. They're actively delivering on what they're talking about. I wonder if this oil crisis will, because if Uber drivers are having to pay much more for their fuel and then they're making a lot less per ride, I wonder how Uber would balance that out. Because it definitely doesn't.
More people on limes.
Maybe. Which they own too.
Yeah.
God.
I know. I was actually just thinking, imagine if you could Uber an aeroplane.
No, but I think that's
the travel.
I was going to say, because I remember actually them saying that was something in the future they wanted.
Yeah.
Imagine if an Expedia or they merge.
Imagine if they just become an airline.
God, I will say the digital experience of ordering an Uber, very, very easy for someone that struggles with tech. I hate booking flights. I always F them up.
Psychologically.
Imagine if you could do it on an Uber app.
I remember reading something about Uber and it was like psychologically, when you can see it for customer service, when you can see the car coming and you can see it's 4 minutes, 5 minutes, even if it was 20 minutes and you could see the car, you are way less or way more satisfied as a customer than, say, a taxi company and having no visibility And that taxi company all their rides could come in 1 minute, but because you don't see that,
That's
like
so
there's
interesting.
psychologically seeing a countdown or seeing, having that control is like, there's a lot in terms of, like customer psychology. But yeah, I honestly reckon anything, it'll be, I mean, to be honest, Airbnb, I would be threatened if I was Airbnb. I'd be quite scared. And also with an app, if people get comfortable using it, the options are endless,
Why do you think then that the idea of accommodation you might be able to do through Uber, so like book accommodation the same way they do with Airbnb? Because I feel like Airbnb is going through like down and down and down. Not necessarily as a business, but just the quality and the standard and everything. I've really gone off it. I wonder how Uber would
if you can
counter
do
that.
everything in one app, right? Like if you can do I need to order an Uber, I need to stay there for 4 days, and then I need to get back to the airport or whatever. I would just do it all in Uber, like genius.
Yeah.
And for businesses, genius, Anyway.
Before we answer the community question, we do actually, on the whole job front, we're looking for a junior editor, and we've actually put a little job description together. AI can't take this over just yet. So if you know anyone who's a really good editor or wants to get into podcast production, or perhaps is amazing at creating little highlights for socials, we would definitely love to hear from you. So we'll put a link to that role in the podcast show notes. We really want them to be London-based, so ideally you're based here. So just get in touch. We'll put the details in the podcast show notes, or send it to anyone that you know that might be great. Okay, community question. I've got an emergency fund in a saving account. It's only earning 1.55% interest.
Laughing face emoji.
She's like, knows. I've been contemplating moving it
to a cash fund.
Yeah, it's still accessible anytime, and it has a 2.98% return. Is this a bad idea? Haha.
I love the haha.
Why is the laughing face and the haha?
Yeah.
Surely, is it because she knows? The answer is obviously yes.
Look, I think the first thing here is there's a savings account and then there's a cash fund. And a cash fund is actually, it's like a managed fund, but it's a professional that is managing a fund of lots of cash products. So they are in there getting the best term deposits, it's not, you're not in one product, like a savings account, you put it in the bank and
in a way it's some kind of a product. It's not just sitting in a transaction account, basically.
So there's a little bit more risk, and that's why she's getting 2.98% return on that cash fund.
Is a cash fund also just like a high interest savings account, or are they different?
No, so they're usually with banks. Oh. The high interest savings accounts, you've got a transaction account, savings account, and then cash funds are usually with like managed fund providers.
Got you.
What the cash fund is invested in is term deposit, but they're trying to get the best deal for you, and they might be taking a little bit of more, some higher risk term deposits or some longer term deposits to get a higher rate. Like they're kind of just, really trying to work the cash for you.
Am I right in thinking a cash fund is actually, to be getting 2.98% return, it's kind of similar to what you can just get in a high interest savings account. Like it's kind of almost, I thought, less than what you can get in a high interest savings account. So
yeah. I mean, it depends where you are in the world, right? Like some get better returns than others, but I mean, I would say yes, put it in the 2.98% cash fund.
Basically, if you're getting better return and you can access your money, go for it.
Yeah, exactly. We all know inflation is about just above 3%. So
if you're getting 1.55 like you are right now,
you're going backwards.
You're going backwards, sliding off the slide.
Yes. So yeah, not advice, but
probably think about it.
Yeah. Just make sure with the cash fund, it will probably take a couple of days to get out because it is a managed fund. So you have to submit a withdrawal and all of that. So just be aware. Maybe it's half and half, or maybe 80% is in a cash fund, 20% is still in that 1.55. But you need to be able to access that at the drop of a hat.
Also on that, we have our latest IOU episode, which came out last week. It's on emergency funds. It's literally on this. It's with Lucy Blackson from Shit You Should Care About, how much you should have set aside, how to work that out, where to put the money, etc. So for anyone that wants to find out more about that, definitely listen to that episode. Hope everyone has a great week and enjoyed this episode. Any feedback, as always, we would love to hear. Comment wherever you're listening. Share it with a friend. Oh, we would love a review. I'm on a tirade to get tirades, maybe not the right word. I'm on a bit of a mission. I want to have more reviews. We only have 1,000, and there's way more people that listen to this podcast. So can you please, if you've listened to an episode and you liked it, give us a couple of stars, maybe 5.
5 is good. Yeah,
if you're feeling generous.
Just 5. Yeah.
And on Thursday this week, we have our deep dive into like women having kids later. So really keen to see how you guys find that. Love your feedback. Have a great week.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to The Curve Weekly. Make sure you hit subscribe or follow wherever you're listening so you're always up to date with the latest finance and investing news.
And feel free to leave a comment to let us know what you thought about this episode because we would love your feedback.
We've got new Curve Weekly episodes for you to listen to every Monday, but until then, listen to Erasing the Curve. These are our in-depth podcast episodes where we chat about all things money.
We're also around all week on socials if you're hungry for more Curve content, and all the links are in this podcast's show notes. We hope you have a great week, and we'll catch you for the next episode of The Curve Weekly on Monday.
Okay, quickly, The Curve was created to empower and educate you about investing, but we are not financial advisors.
Our platform exists for educational purposes only, and it doesn't provide personalized investing advice for your individual needs and should not be relied upon to make an investment or financial decision.
And always remember to do your own research before making any investment or financial decision.
We're here for any knowledge and support you need, but the final call is always yours.
And thanks for being here.
You got this.
Yeah, we know you got this.